Happy Father's Day to all the fathers in attendance. If you're like me, or if you're not like me, you probably got a really nice gift. I really got a kick in the face from my daughter this morning, waking up. She actually kicked me in the face. So that was my Happy Father's Day present from my daughter. It was wonderful. But we're delighted that you're all here. Thank you for all the fathers and attendance and for what they mean in our lives. I do have a few announcements before we begin. Today we are having our sign-ups summer celebration this Thursday night. If you haven't seen, it's on the back. If you did not listen, like you probably should have, it is on the back here as well. At 5:30, we're having some recreation outside, a business meeting. 6 o'clock, we're having a hot dog supper. And then at 7 o'clock, we're going to have some music in the sanctuary. We have a lot of people coming out for that. So, and then we're going to take a donation up for anyone that would like to give to the children's Sunday school class. That you're going to hear from them a little bit later in the service. And they're trying to purchase a water buffalo. So, it's funny, isn't it? So, come out for that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
What's the John Deere $2?
So then, today though, we are taking up ticket requests for Grasshoppers game. July 11th, we're going to Greensboro Grasshoppers for a game, a baseball game. So if you can sign up for tickets today, the sign up is on Rebecca's door. So please sign up for that. We're having deacons tomorrow at 7 o'clock, and then we also have a list of what is needed for the summer celebration. Is that right? On your door? Oh, it's here. Okay, it's right here. So if you all wouldn't mind coming and sign up to bring some stuff, that'd be great. And then Saturday morning at 2 a.m., we're leaving here to go to Raleigh for to fly out for our Belize trip. So please continue to keep us in your prayers. If you wanted to write a letter to the group in general, I can make copies of that and take it with us. If you wanted to send a note of encouragement, we would really appreciate that as well. Any other announcements? Okay, let's move into our congregational concerns and Thanksgivings. Continue to remember Laura Flack. She's still recovering with her back. She's just had a rough go of it. Also, Carolyn Brown had a detached retina this week, and she had emergency surgery on Friday. And so she's back at home now. So I spoke with Cam last night. But it's going to be a long recovery process, and so just continue to pray for her. What other prayer requests might we mention today?
One thing I'd like for us as a church to think about is how we can boost our Sunday school attendance. I take down those numbers every Sunday morning, and I'm talking to myself just as much as anybody else, but I think we need to think about how we can boost our Sunday school attendance, especially among our young people. So,
Absolutely.
yes.
Yes.
I have a friend, Joe Brooks, anyway, we were in church together now in Virginia, but anyway, she had ovarian cancer then, and I put her on our prayer list.
Okay.
But anyway, she has had a real curse, something bad's going on, and we need prayers for her for that.
Josh, a couple requests before the children pass out the roses to the fathers.
It's not happening. It's not a thing.
Helen Williamson, who lives down the hill below you, Church Street, is having surgery this week. She's in all care right now, waiting to have surgery this week. She had a stroke and has got to have a clot moved out of blood vessels going through her brain. She didn't have a lot of family. She's lost most of her family, so we need to keep her in our prayers if I remember.
I know James hadn't been, I'm sorry, Janet hadn't been here. Is she doing all right, Jane?
You talking to me?
Janet Mays.
It's Janet, have
She
you?
called me, she called me this past week, and she went to Oklahoma with her son. He took her down there last
Okay,
Sunday.
okay.
But I had to talk to her since Thursday. I was surprised she wasn't here.
Yeah, Thelma Hussey's still having trouble with her knees. Not got any good really.
Josh, one other thing I forgot was, with Nancy and I went and saw Angie McCaskill this week.
Yeah.
She's having, of course, a tough time, but she was so thankful for the handicap ramp that our team, which I'm still not allowed to be a member of, built for her in the front of the house. And it really did look good. That's a truly good ministry you guys do.
I know it was Dwayne and Bruce and Reuben and Don and Tommy, I think. Tommy. Tim Dunn. Yeah, have a good team to go out there doing that. So. Anyone else concerned with Thanksgiving?
Well, I'm sorry, one Thanksgiving I would like to share is thank you to all the people here at our church and out in the community that came to our Lions Club auction last night that we had here. I think that's the best attendance I can remember. We raised over $3,000 for helping vision services in our community, so thanks to everybody.
Great. Anyone else? begin our worship with music. Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for this time in your house. We're thankful for your presence amongst us and within us. Lord, we thank you that we can come to this church, that we can bring our concerns, our thanksgivings, that we can lift them up to you, that we can share the burdens of those in our midst. Lord, we ask that your will be done in these situations that have been mentioned and those that may have not been mentioned. Lord, help us be concerned for not only each other, but for those outside these walls. Help us to have compassion and care for those in need, for those in need of physical help, but also of emotional, spiritual, and mental health. Allow us to be people that can offer support and encouragement, a kind word, a smile when needed. Allow us to be you to them. Allow us to share your love and your grace through our actions and our words. Lord, we thank you for this time of worship, that we can give glory and honor to you and you alone. For it's in Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. Would you now recite the Lord's Prayer with me? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Today we get to honor our high school graduates, but we would also like to honor anyone who had a graduate, whether college or advanced degree. If you have a niece, nephew, grandson, granddaughter, or obviously son or daughter, make mention of that at this time. If you have someone who's graduated from college, high school, any of them, we'd like to honor those today. Anybody? Yeah. Yeah. Good nephew. That's great.
Our granddaughter, Sarah, graduated
Sarah.
from
Yeah.
ECC.
Yeah.
Our grandson, Brandon.
Brandon. Yeah.
wife Barbie from St. Andrews.
Yeah, congratulations. Anything else? It's a special time whenever any kind of graduation comes along, and so we're thankful for all of those in our lives who have made this accomplishment. And so in a little bit, we are going to hear from Gina Blake. She's going to come and speak to us, and we'll have a recognition of her in just a little bit. Would you join me as we read our graduation call to worship? Many voices are speaking to us today in the movie theaters, on the concert stages, on the television.
Today, Lord, we choose to listen to your voice, to respond to your desires, to follow your Christ's path for us.
Many voices are speaking to us today in our homes, in our friendships, and in our community.
Today, Lord, we choose to listen to your voice, to respond to your desires, and follow your Christ's path for us.
Many voices are speaking to us today through celebrities, commercials, and through media.
Today, Lord, we choose to listen to your voice, to respond to your desires, and follow your Christ's path for us.
As many voices ring in our ears, we say that we choose to listen for your voice, to do what pleases you, and to stay true to the path you have lovingly set before us.
Strengthen each of us to choose the higher road, to live in grace and us, and to honor you in all ways. Lord, we listen to your voice. Amen.
Gina, would you come up here for me? As a lovable member of this church, we would like to offer you this scholarship from our church, as well as this award Bible given to you from us. We are so thankful for everything that you have done for this church and for what you mean to each other. And she is now going to share a graduate testimony for us.
Good morning, you guys. I'm a little nervous. Okay. First off, I want to thank everyone throughout the years. And it's been a rocky road, but it's good.
You stand by it. I'm going to read it. She said, first off, I want to thank everyone for their support throughout the years. As I made my journey through high school, it's been a rocky road, but I made it. From always failing tests to never finishing projects, I would always fail the test but pass the class with flying colors. Some of the people who have helped me along the way cannot be narrowed down. I can remember when Becca had after-school handbell practice, and she made us do our homework before practice. She taught me how to do my 9 times tables on my hand to this day. I still use it. Getting tutored by Mary Wilson, she gave me a 60-second pop quiz on times tables. When the timer went off, it scared me, and I made her and my mom laugh at me. I was trying to focus using my hands under the table. They have taught me to be kind and help others when in need. She says, my dad has taught me to be strong. As y'all may know, Dad had a stroke in February. And during his recovery, he had good spirits. He said 3 little words he would tell the nurse on the way to PT, let's do it. He taught me that no matter how small or large the obstacle is to never give up. Mom told me I had a verse that fit. Proverbs 31:25. She is clothed with strength and dignity and laughs without fear of the future. As I continue my journey through the next chapter of life, I will always remember to be kind, strong, and to laugh without fear of the future. Thank you.
We're just all really proud of you. You're a living testament to what we believe in and what we do every single day, and definitely every Sunday and every Wednesday night. Thank you for your contributions and your efforts and who you are as a person and to your family. The Old Testament lesson today comes from Exodus chapter 20, verses 12 through 16. These are the words that you shall speak to the Israelites. Then God spoke all these words. Honor your father and your mother, so that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor.
Stand as we sing our hymn, God of Grace and God of Glory, verses 1, 3, and 4, page 285 in hymn. Please stand as we sing.
Thank you.
In January, we decided to buy a flock of chickens through Harvard International. They only cost us $20. They were sent to a family so they could raise more chickens and have some food and maybe even sell some baby chicks. Then we wanted to do something really big, so we decided to buy a water buffalo. It was great thinking about sending a needy family a baby water buffalo. Then we began to doubt we could do it. A baby water buffalo costs $250.
Water buffalo are really big. They like to rest in muddy water. They have big, wide feet so they don't sink too deep in the mud. They are gentle and patient with people. They are used to pull heavy machinery and carry heavy loads. Water buffalo can help a family plant 5 times as much rice as they could by hand. They also provide milk, meat, and 6 tons of manure a year to use in methane-powered cook stoves and lamps.
We thought we would tell you what we have learned about Heifer International and ask you to help us. A man named Dan West from Indiana traveled to Spain in 1936 to help feed people in the Spanish Civil War. He saw that just giving people a few cups of milk a day was not stopping the hunger in the country. He decided that the people needed a way to make their own food. In 1942, he got his friends and neighbors back home in Indiana to donate young cows called heifers to the families in need.
Today, Heifer International does not ship animals between countries. They buy the animals in the country where they will be given away. Our baby water buffalo will be bought in the same country where it will be given to a needy family. The needy family that gets our water buffalo must give their first female calf to another needy family. That way, our little buffalo will grow up and help other people. Since 1944, Heifer has helped more than 100 million people in more than 125 countries. When we have our church picnic this Thursday, we will have a bulletin board so you can learn more about our Sunday school mission to buy a baby water buffalo.
Thank you all very much. Good job, guys. Children's. I think at this time we'll ask the children to go for the children's church. I guess it's Joe. Get out of here. I don't know if they have anybody. Okay. Oh, hey, Angel's over here.
Thank you.
At the door. gathering your stuff. Let's continue with our prayer of confession printed in the bulletin. Wise and powerful God, you have given us your light and truth to guide us through confusion. Yet we have relied instead on our human wisdom and have lost our way. You offer to share our burdens and give us your strength. Yet we trust in our own efforts and find ourselves exhausted. Forgive us and bring us back into your presence, O God. Overcome our separation from one another and from you. By your words and Spirit, fill us with gifts that equip us to meet life's demands, that we may be your people in the world and live in confidence and joy of faith in Jesus Christ our Lord, in whose name we pray. Amen. Hear the good news. In the name of Jesus, you are forgiven.
In the name of Jesus, you are forgiven.
Let us pray. Lord our God, we thank you for this day to worship you in your house on this Lord's Day. We're humbled to be in your presence on a daily basis and ask that we become better aware of your presence in our lives and the lives of those around us. Lord, we are thankful for the youth and children of this church and the opportunities we have to celebrate special accomplishments in their lives. Lord, we ask that you bless those children and youth that you have entrusted in our care. Not only that, but that we can reach outside these walls to care for all the little children in the world. First, in Jesus Christ's name we pray. We stand to sing our offertory hymn, Let Your Heart Be Brave, page 658 in your hymn. Please stand as we sing.
We
celebrate Father's Day today, but we know you are the ultimate Father with unconditional love all the time, and that you're with us everywhere we go, whether we acknowledge you or not. Thank you for your sacrifice that resulted in the greatest gift of all, of your precious Son, Jesus, whose death on the cross provides salvation for us eternally. We thank you that you do bless us so many ways. And I ask now, Lord, that you help us to be generous and faithful in returning a portion of those blessings so that your will can be done more fully in this community and all over. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
The New Testament lesson today comes from Matthew chapter 22, verses 34 through 40. When the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together. And one of them, O Lord, asked him a question to test him. Teacher, which commandment in the law is the greatest? He said to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the greatest and first commandment. And a second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
Growing up, my Sunday school teachers used very different ways to help us understand how we were to act and relate to people around us. And I'm not sure when this was created, but they told us life is about joy. And this is not joy, the word, it says J, period, O, period, Y, period. It's Jesus, J stands for Jesus, O stands for others, Y stands for yourself. This is the order in which we should live our lives. That's what they would tell us. Jesus, others, yourself. And of all the things that I was taught as a child in my home church, this one really stuck with me. In our world, it's become very easy to turn that around. As a culture, we are thrust into so many things that are meant to be for our entertainment. Have it your way is a popular phrase. It's no longer just a catchy jingle. It's actually a way of life for a lot of people. Anything can be bought or consumed at the swipe of a finger or the click of a button. Charity and mercy towards others is considered a weakness in some points that exploits the gullible nature of the person. Very critical culture that we live. I mean, even Christianity has seeped this has seeped into every crevice of the church. That's why we have so many different churches out there. There are churches with any and every kind of music that appeases the certain demographics that they're trying to reach. There's churches that are very formal in worship in great cathedrals, and there's churches that meet on Tuesday nights in bars. You know, if you don't like a certain church, there's one just right across the street or right across the highway or wherever that might fit what you want. It's entirely possible to go to a church and not feel convicted or challenged or led to do something or believe something different than you did when you walked in. It's entirely possible to go to a church and not be connected to anyone. There's a lot of bigger churches are like that. It's entirely possible to go to a church and feel that God is for you and you alone, above and against anyone else that has different opinions of you. And all these possibilities are not okay. They're not okay. Our idea of others is defined oftentimes by where we were born on the map more than anything. And I strongly believe that God doesn't care about boundary lines with regard to how we treat one another. Because God's idea of others is anyone who is not you. They can look, act, speak, exist very differently than each of us, or they can be in our immediate family. But they're others. They're still others. We must put them before ourselves with no discrimination or partiality. Because the world and everything in it is geared toward placing our own needs ahead of everyone else's. But then we have statements from the Bible that fly in the face of everything that we see in our culture. We hear statements like serving others, being humble, showing compassion towards others, helping the least of these. We hear about truth and righteousness and how justice should be for all, no matter where you're from. And then we have these last 6 commandments, or words, from Exodus 20, indicating a better way to live life. And we have Jesus calling on each of us to love our neighbor as ourselves. You know, we get wrapped up in this idea that the 10 Commandments are rules for life, and that Jesus commands for us to love our neighbors are merely suggestions. But love is at the heart of all the commandments. And Jesus sees this. He sees that love is more than an emotion. It's a verb. It's an action. Love becomes something more tangible, something full of action. Love God, love others. Jesus says is more than just a pretty ad campaign that churches can use. It's really the ugliest part of Christianity because it means that we have to do more than come to church on Sundays. The words of the 10 Commandments are not just rules for how we as people should act. It's more than that. There are ways that we should show love to people around us, to our neighbors. There are ways to fulfill the second of Jesus' greatest command, to love our neighbors as ourselves, to put that love into action. So we're going to look at those 6 today, the final 6. The first command is honor your father and your mother so that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. Now this word is one we especially like to use when speaking to our children, right? But there's so much more to this word than a good reason to listen to your parents. This is the first relationship that we have in our lives. How we relate to others, and to some extent how we even relate and see God, comes from this relationship. We learn first and foremost how to respect those in authority over us. We understand from our relationship with our parents that we should be respected and honored if we want to have this deep and meaningful life. That's where it all starts. The next command is, you shall not murder. Now this one seems pretty straightforward, but we see murder translated as kill on a few occasions, but the two are not quite the same. Murder in the Jewish tradition is seen as something that's premeditated. It's an act of violence that's planned, that results in the death of someone. It's planned, purposeful killing of another person with no regards for human life. And this is what it boils down to for God. God values life, all life. All life. Not simply cute babies or adorable toddlers, but all life. The people seen as less than, the people seen as completely other, the outsiders, the broken ones in the gutter, all life is important to God. All life should be valued and have the equal opportunity to finish its natural course. Whether that life is from another country, a different lifestyle, a different religion, all life has value to God. Every bit of it. The 7th command is, you shall not commit adultery. Now, if there are any commandments of the 10 that are so out of place in the patriarchal society of Israel's days, this would be it, because just a casual reading of the Old Testament or common knowledge of the culture of the day would show us that women, they were not considered good for much outside of having children and doing the grunt work. And some of you here today are saying, that's what my husband thinks I'm supposed to be doing. We're sorry for that. All of us men are sorry for that. But adultery is understood like the idolatry command in the first 4 of the 10. When a married person has an affair with someone, the affair destroys that honorable family that God has blessed. When a person worships an idol, that worship destroys the relationship between God and the other person. Interestingly enough, adultery is only understood in a relationship between 2 married people. It's one of the reasons why polygamy was okay to the patriarchs. It wasn't until the New Testament and Jesus' teachings on adultery changed the idea to mean more than just what it was. The 8th command is, you shall not steal. Now this command takes the Israelite people back to when they were slaves of Egypt. While enslaved, the Egyptians could come and take what they wanted at any point in time from the Israelites. Taking something that was not yours became not only a capital offense, but also an offense to God, because whenever you're stealing, it not only dealt with taking away what was yours, but it took away the safety and security that people felt in God, that they found in God. The 9th command is, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. And this command continues the understanding that God is a God of truth, honesty. Adultery and stealing are specific cases of people being untruthful. God then gives a glimpse as to the extent of how far people are to be truthful. With this command, we see that God, above all, wants us to uplift the people around us and not tear them down with falsehood. Lies. And God is way more concerned with us being honest and truthful with our neighbors than our own pride and our own rightness. Because of all the characteristics of a true Christian that we can have, honesty is looked down upon the most. We want to look like we got it all together and that we're okay. Walter Brueggemann says, churches should be the most honest place in town. not the happiest place in town. The 10th command is, you shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or male or female slave, or ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. Now, if you just glance over this last command, it may seem as though God has already gone over this, right? God said, do not commit adultery, do not steal, be truthful. Do we really need to hear another lesson of not taking something from someone else or being wrong to someone else? But the word that changes the intent of this command is covet. Coveting is not necessarily done outwardly. To covet, sometimes something is to wish or to desire it within your heart, in your soul. While the other commands attempt to stop us from acting, this command attempts to stop us from planting a seed that would later blossom into action. Because this is a big reason why Jesus speaks of the greatest command being to love with all that we are. Because we are more than simply these bodies. We are much more than simply our neurons firing when we think and learn. We are more than a bunch of feelings that are triggered every so often. Every part of us is connected. If we stop, wrongful thoughts or wrongful feelings, wrongful actions won't hopefully come. So these are the 10 commandments. You know them. These are important words from God that should impact our lives, but we must ask ourselves, do they do that? Are they just archaic rules that everyone knows should be followed, or are they more than that? I mean, to Christian people, they should be how we express our relationship with God. They should be how we interact with people, with our neighbors, with others. It should be how we live out the freedom that God grants us. Freedom to love our neighbors as ourselves and to love others as Christ loved us. Romans 13 has been tossed around quite a bit this week as a reason why people should always follow the authority of the government, even when we may not agree with it. And this use has provoked many Christian denominations and pastors speak out against taking Scripture out of context. Now, this isn't the first time or the last time that Scripture was or will be taken out of context, as it was. As we have seen throughout history, when people want to exert the power of the Bible over others, they can find anything they say that it can say to say what they want. Before the American Revolution, loyalists who favored the obedience to King George III of England liked to quote Romans 13, but then on the other hand, revolutionaries also used it as a counter-argument that Paul never meant to justify despotic rulers. Prior to the Civil War, when Congress passed the Fugitive Slave Act, the passage was cited again. The act, which allowed slaves who had escaped to freedom in the North to be forcibly returned to their owners in the South, it was employed this time to rein in anyone who would challenge the lawfulness of slavery. The passage was used once again in civil rights movements in the 1960s. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. famously made a point about it in his letter from the Birmingham jail, as he explained that Christians should subject themselves to governing authorities as they do good, not evil. And one may ask, he says, how can you advocate breaking some laws and obeying others? And the answer lies in the fact that there are two types of laws, just and unjust. I would be the first to advocate obeying just laws. One has not only a legal, but a moral responsibility to obey just laws. Conversely, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. Now, this isn't a partisan statement I'm making. It has nothing to do with that. How we treat others, how we treat people, matters more to God than borders and nationalities. And I imagine it's one of the reasons that we have the 10 Commandments, because we needed reminding that as God's people, we have to act differently. We have to be honest about the injustices instead of sweeping them under the rugs because they're hard to talk about. We have to continually speak out against those policies and laws that fly against our moral responsibility. We have to get on board with what God was giving to the Israelite people in the Ten Commandments, that they are not merely rules. They're how we live out our faith. Because this is when we start acting out Jesus' greatest two commandments. This is when we become Jesus' people who love. Maybe today you never accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Maybe you would like to join the church through baptism or transfer of letter. Maybe you'd like for me to pray for you. Whatever the decision, I'll be down front as we sing our closing hymn. We are people of God's peace. Verses 1 and 2, page 256 in your hymn list. Please stand as we sing. We love you and we thank you for this time together. Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.